Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic that is design to development handoff on Figma. I'll be sharing a lot of tips, tricks, and more importantly, Figma plugins that will help designers give a successful handoff. So let's get started. But before that, let me introduce myself. I'm Raksha. I'm a UI UX designer at Geeky Ants. I love to talk about tools that make life easier for UI UX and product designers. So the question is, what is a handoff? I think we all can agree that in order to be great designers, we need to be more than just good at design. Part of our work is also effective collaboration, documentation, and knowledge transfer. So, a handoff is a critical process where designers transfer final design assets, specs or specifications, and intent to developers for implementation. It's the bridge between a designer's vision and the final product, ensuring that the end product matches the design. So, why do handoffs matter so much? I've seen enough memes on the internet to understand the importance of handoffs to developers. The problem is not that designers or developers don't know how to do their jobs, it's that we're not speaking the same language. Developers do not need to understand why a web page looks the way it does. You just need to give them the right directions to make it look that way. A study done by Zeppelin shows that developers report spending 4 to 8 hours weekly resolving handoff related miscommunications. Similarly, Figma did a survey in 2023, and according to that, 70% of the designers say poor handoffs lead to compromised UX in final products. Not just that, before Figma introduced Dev Mode in 2024, designers at companies like Dropbox struggled with exporting assets and they shared outdated designs, which led to surprises for developers and they got stuck in multiple feedback loops. I personally have been in situations where I've had to come back to a completed project and hand out components simply because some specs were missing in the file. So I had to address this issue, which is why I'm sharing a methodology for seamless handoff. And the tips I will share today are useful for both beginners to Figma and those who have been in the design game for a long time. So let's get started. To make things easier, you can divide your handoff process into 4 simple steps. The first step is to organize. Organizing your Figma file may seem like a very basic step, but they say that well begun is half done. So always start off by organizing your Figma file, by organizing your pages or naming your pages appropriately. Let's say if you have desktop design, have a page separately for desktop. This will help you in documenting your Figma pages better, and always have checklists. So before you start your handoff process, always make a checklist of items that you need to hand off so that you don't forget anything. Have sections. Always create sections and header titles for any design that you make, because adding titles and headers to your file helps a new person to navigate your designs better. Keep them big, keep them bold. This will ensure that you don't lose track of screens while you're working on a much bigger project. Thumbnails. Always have a nice thumbnail to your project. It helps you create an impression and makes your project look really good when stakeholders and team members visit your project. You can even add a themed template or a thumbnail for all of the files inside a particular project, and this creates an impression and goes a long way. Now, Figma has a pro feature, which is to rename layers. This is a pro feature on Figma that has a deeper purpose actually. So as you can see, any file that you create, normally the frame names are not exactly, it's not easy for developers to understand frame names. So Figma has this feature that you can check out. It's a pro feature, it's an AI feature that lets you rename the layers. So as you can see, this option, when you click on it, it renames all the layers within that particular frame that you have selected. So as you can see, it names it as breadcrumbs, profile section, profile info. So all of these things are really nice when you're trying to organize or give a clean handoff instead of a, like, a messy and lethargic one. Next, we have arranging components. So always have a neatly arranged set of components. If it's your own component library, always arrange them cleanly and don't make them messy. Always arrange them inside sections. A great example would be to refer to BlueStack UI. BlueStack UI is actually a UI kit we have internally at Geekians. Here's how we arrange our components, segregating them from light mode, dark mode, and showcasing everything with bold titles and headers. So this really goes a long way. So yeah, that's all about organizing your Figma file. The second step is to optimize. The definition of optimization in this case is to ensure that your design is scalable, reusable, and modularized. It's to ensure that you're addressing all edge cases, all error states, and any gray areas that the developers need to be aware of. It is one of the most important steps in a designer's handoff process. So, here are some ways you can optimize your design. The first one is a plugin called Specs. So, this helps you explain your elements or the components that you've used in your design and create detailed specs for those components. So here's a demo of how the specs plugin works. Click on any component that you have on your design. You can pull it across and go to the plugin section, and you will find the specs plugin. All you have to do is run the plugin while you're selecting the component that you want to generate the specs for. This is actually a free tool. It will dissect your component and generate detailed specs for that particular component and generate layout spacings and all of these specifications that can be easily shared with your developers. The next is annotations and measurements. Annotations and measurements is not exactly a plugin, but more of a Figma tool. It's a recently added tool that lets you add an annotation linking it to a particular element. For example, when you go to this section, you can click on the annotation feature and you can click on any particular element that you want to address an issue to. You can select a category. I'm selecting development. I'm mentioning to the developer that this is a primary city. Adding these annotations really helps developers to understand without having to reach out to you what a particular element does in the design. Another feature that I really liked is the measurement feature. You can just click on any particular element and drag it to the next element, and you can measure the distance or the length between that element and the edge. So adding these kind of annotations really helps developers to understand in very few words and not having to reach back to you. They can just navigate through your design file and understand what are the specs or specifications of your document. The last one is BlueStack UI for spec sheets. So generating spec sheets is very tedious, but you can take references from existing projects or existing component libraries to generate a spec sheet of your own. One of the best spec sheets that I've seen is on BlueStack UI that we at Geekyans use. So it's very detailed. It outlines all of the use cases for every single component. It even has a sizing, theming, everything that you need as a developer to navigate through a particular component library. And the component library is very detailed and easy to understand. So I think these are the ways that you can optimize your Figma file. Next, we have collaboration. One of the most enjoyable phases of a handoff is the collaboration phase. The way you collaborate with your developer team can make or break your product. It can be a little frustrating to convert your design terminology into development terms. And like I said, we don't speak the same language. And it's very important that you have a middleman to effectively bridge this large gap. There are some ways you can do that through tools and plugins. One of these plugins is actually Zeppelin. Zeppelin is a design delivery platform. It's primarily used to bridge that gap between designers and developers. So it provides a central hub where teams can share finalized designs. They can even generate detailed specs and also access assets of the project. So let's see how Zeppelin works. All you have to do is click on the Zeppelin plugin and run it on your file. While you're doing that, you can select the screens that you want to finalize and push to development. As you can see, I've clicked on 3 frames and I want to click export. But before I do that, I have to create a project. Now I am working on a free version of Zeppelin, but if you want to create more than one project on Zeppelin, you will have to have a paid subscription. Now I've clicked on create a project and it's exporting these 3 screens to a project called Handoff. I will click on open Zeppelin, and as you can see, my 3 screens have been added to the file. When you click on a particular file, you can check the flows of that screen. You can see the padding, the uh, the fonts, the weights, the size, anything related to the entire design, which is easier for the developer to understand. You can view it on Zetman. So as you can see, it even provides code for developers, and sharing it on to Zeppelin helps uh, to avoid that unnecessary back and forth where developers are asking, do you have the specs for this, when all of the assets are added in PNG, PDF, and SVG formats. So I think it's a great tool to start off your handoff and creating spec sheets and sharing it for development. So the next plugin that we have is called Autoflow plugin. Many of you might be aware of it. Autoflow is a plugin that lets you map or add arrows between multiple screens to show the flow of to show a user journey. The reason I'm adding Autoflow as a collaborative tool here is because most of the time our designs, when we share them, they're not. There is no clear directions unless you are sharing a prototype. And even with prototypes, when a developer lands on your design file, for example, this file, they will not know exactly which screen follows the other. So I think part of communicating your design to developers is also providing clear cut directions for developers and any stakeholders who come to your file. So you can go to the plugin section and click on Autoflow. It's going to open up a small widget that lets you customize the type of arrow you want. You can adjust the radius, you can adjust the stroke. So this is the parameters that I'm clicking. So here what you can do is select any particular section or any component within your screen. After you're done selecting that, click on Shift and select where you want to map that particular CTA to. So let's say I want, when I click on book, it should go to this section. So click on the book CTA, click on Shift, and click on the next screen. And what Autoflow is going to do is it's going to add an automatic arrow. And you can do the same by clicking on one screen, click on Shift, and go to the next screen. It's going to add an arrow between them. So it's a great plugin if you are communicating your designs without having to sit on multiple calls with developers. And it actually it's a small gesture that you can do for your developers to navigate your design better and communicate your designs to them in a self-explanatory way. The next collaborative feature that Figma offers is Dev Mode. Dev Mode is a great feature. A lot of developers don't know the exact functionality and how to navigate navigate themselves through Dev Mode. But once developers are able to get the knack of it, you will understand why it's so important. So how you access Dev Mode is just click on this toggle or click Shift D and you will be able to switch to Dev Mode. As a developer, I can move around, I can click on a particular screen, I can inspect the components of that screen. As you can see, it's going to show me there's a left panel and you can see that the name of the component. You can see when it was created, and you can compare changes with the main component. If it's an instance of a component, you can compare the changes with the main component. There is a small preview, and you can also switch between code and properties. It's a very, very powerful feature that Figma has come up. And as you can see, you can switch between CSS iOS, which has Swift UI and UI Kit options. Even Android, you have XML features. There are even plugins that developers can use. Plugins like converting Figma to code. Obviously, Figma to code has its own limitations, but if the design is properly designed with auto layouts, Figma to code is very, very effective. So, other things like viewing padding, border, margins, even you can copy the styling, the CSS code. You can explore a lot of assets that is added, like components within the particular component. If there are sub elements, if there are assets, you can download them in SVG, PNG, JPEG, and PDF formats. So as you can see, this is a very, very powerful feature that Figma has, which enhances the collaboration between designers and developers. And I think it's very important that designers introduce developers to dev mode and let them know the features, the different features that they can access and explore on Figma. That brings us to the last step, which is documentation. Documentation is nothing but making a compilation of all the work you've done and providing that in the form of a handoff. So, this essentially is the last and final step. And it's a very important step as well, because here's where you are giving your design assets, you're handing over your work. So, one of the first steps is to add all links and gather all links, both internal and external, and provide that in a Figma file or Figma page. So, what I'd like to do is maybe have a section like this within the file that encompasses all links, like external links. It could be Jira boards, it could be Drive links, presentations, documents, anything important. Also, it's very nice to mention your the whole team that's worked on the project, because it helps developers and stakeholders reach out to a particular person if they require anything. So it's very important to mention team members and their role. So that's about documenting the links. Next, we have design version plugin. So it's all about version control. Part of documenting your designs is also to make sure that all the versions of your product are also documented well. And I think design version plugin does a great job with that. It helps you document links, and it helps you track the dates of the documentation. So all you have to do is create different versions of your product over the past and just copy links to those pages. Go to the plugin section and run the plugin called design version. It's going to show you two types of versioning. One is date and the other is a semantic versioning. I'm choosing the date option. All I have to do is select the destination. I'm going to select this page and I'm going to type that this is the previous version. It's a note that you can add, and all you have to do is label the version and add a link of the page that you're committing. When you click on commit, it will add that version onto the page that you have mentioned. So as you can see, it's a change log. Every time you make a new version change or any time you want to document that change, you can use this plugin. So it's a great tool for version control. Our next plugin is called Figma Exporter. So, in the case of logos and icons, so it's always a challenge to provide different sizes, provide logos in different sizes. So, I think Figma Exporter does it quick and easy. All you have to do is go to the component that you want to export, select it, go to the plugin section, click on Figma Exporter. It's going to generate different sizes of either PNG, SVG, or whatever whatever desired format that you want. So all you have to do is click on the platform that you want to support, like the based on what you select. If it's iOS, it's going to generate respective respective sizes for that logo and that icon. So all you have to do is click export. And you have to select the destination. I'm going to click on Documents and I'm going to click on Save. Now, all you have to do is go to your Finder and click on Documents, and you will find a zip folder containing all of the necessary sizes, all of the required sizes of that particular logo. So I think it's a great tool if you want to export your designs. Last step of documentation is exploring tools for recording your KTs. A video, one detailed video is enough to explain and not having to repeatedly demo your designs. So, one single demo of your entire design can really help all stakeholders, not just developers, to understand the main functionality of the design. So, a really good facilitator for this is Loom Recorder. It's a fast tool that lets you record KT videos and share them with your team through embedded video links. You can add them in your documentation files and share them all across Slack and other collaborative tools. So all these new innovative tools help you to up your handoff game, and it's useful for the entire team and not just for design and developer collaboration. So that's about documentation. So now that we are done understanding the different strategies for a handoff, it is important to weigh the advantages and disadvantages of having an intensive handoff strategy. I think one of the major advantages is improved clarity and collaboration in product teams. We've now established that clarity and collaboration are just as important as the design itself. I think when designers and developers come together to realize that both are working towards the same cause, we can transform what seems like a tedious KT session into a fruitful discussion. So make sure that you and your developer are on the same side of the court. Then saving time and budget. So by introducing organized and optimized design files, you're saving your company or business tons of money, which would have otherwise been lost in rework, reallocation of resources, and avoiding unnecessary back and forth within team members. Next is brings necessary closure. Like I mentioned in some of my earlier projects, I had to come back to provide some assets because the developer couldn't find them in the design. So I guess by detailed documentation of all the assets, one can avoid revisiting and bringing closure to your work. Then we have consistency and quality. It's obvious that the clearer the handoff, the clearer the quality of the delivered product. So to ensure that consistency and quality are maintained, there must be no fuss, no miscommunications, and no Chinese whisper. Coming to some of the disadvantages, these points are not so much as disadvantages, but they are minute drawbacks of having an intensive handoff strategy. First thing, it's time consuming. I know I stated that handoffs save time and money on the long run, but initially to set up and organize these tools and learn these tools to export them, it takes a lot of time. With that being said, if you weigh the time and resources at stake, you will still be saving a lot of time and money for your business with an effective handoff strategy. Next is learning is required. Many tools like dev mode and Figma plugins, they require training for product teams. It takes a lot of initiative from team leads and managers to set up these tools and train members to use them. So this is a big learning curve for even beginner designers too. Next, we have over reliance on process. So, strictly adhering to procedures can reduce flexibility or creativity, especially if these processes are overly rigid. So, it's important to streamline the process rather than to enforce it upon the team. There's a lot of resource demand for smaller teams, as in like startups which run on a budget. Some paid tools and resources, allocating resources and training for these tools can become a burden and not a hassle that they would want to go through. So, in conclusion, from my experience, designing is definitely not an easy task. It's not easy to be creative all the time. And on top of all of that, you're expected to be perfect at documenting all your work as well. So, to learn that your work means nothing if you are not handing off your work well is a scary thought. So, there's no escaping it. The only option is to embrace, enhance, and enjoy it. With the help of creative and innovative tools, and definitely open communication. We as designers, we can empower developers to bring our ideas to life. So let's approach every handoff not as a task, but as a commitment to building something meaningful. Thank you so much. I hope this presentation was useful. Thank you.